Hi, I'm Hayley Evans, and I'm here with Brian McNaught. And we wanted to take a couple minutes to introduce the idea behind Are You Happy Without the Movie and really dig into why we started this. So I think the first question is over to you, Brian. What's with the title?
A
How did you get
title. Are you happy without the movie? I mean, you have to decide how you're gonna. Are you happy without the movie? So I was talking to a person. I mentioned that I said that sentence to you in a previous phone call, and you said, "Oh my God, I love that." And I said, what should we call this effort of ours to help people find their light and have the courage to let it shine? And why not? Are you happy without the movie? So it comes from, my conversation with somebody who told me that they wanted to be on Oprah Winfrey, and they wanted to be interviewed, and they wanted their book highlighted, and that would make them happy. That's really what they were living for, was to get on Oprah. And so I said, I said, what if, so, so what if they did have you on Oprah? And what if your book was this great sensation, and people wanted to know more about you? And then eventually they made a movie. I mean, this big director says they're going to make a movie about your life, and it's going to star this really hunky guy, who's going to represent you, and it's going to win an Oscar. Oh my God. And you're going to be on stage accepting this award, right? Wow. Okay, so but you're in the green room waiting for Oprah. You're going to go on any minute, right? Because you got it. They invited you. And then they come in and they say, "I'm so sorry that we ran over in the last segment. Um, can you be happy without the movie?" What is it that you have to have happen in your life that and from the outside that tells you that your life has succeeded, that you have made it, and that you have reason to be happy? But
right?
can you be happy without the movie?
And I think, I leapt onto that because I think it's so significant. Exactly what you're explaining. Can you be happy without the movie? What if everything just went completely different to what you're expecting? Can you be okay with that? But then I also, the movie aspect to it, which is, our life is the movie we create.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the movie you're creating? And then it is that light of, sort of the projector screen, which is the light that's coming from our heart and is projecting onto this wall, which is our movie. So for me at least, it's a multifaceted title that really captures so much about our journeys.
And Hayley, I like the idea that our life is a movie, but one of the things that I'm really liking is that the movie doesn't have to have an ending that makes sense to the person who started watching, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't have to live your life as a continual reel. You don't have to say, okay, now that I'm 72, this is how I should be behaving given what I've done so far in my life. There should be a natural conclusion where
Right.
the
The
end
expectation.
the end comes up and everyone applauds because it made perfect sense and no one's arguing about the plot. But you don't have to do that. You can stop and say, you know what? I want to do something new. Act 3 is going to be a really different plot than Act 1 and 2. And that's great, because some voice is telling you, okay, stop. The ego wants you to go in this direction because everyone is expecting it. But the ego is not you. Listen to this voice inside that's saying, no, 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 that's our turn. Time is running out.
Yep.
I want to say something.
And I think too, the main characters change.
Yeah. Or they do all the time. You think, wait a second, that's not the person who was in the last episode.
Right. So it's, I don't have a background in movies. I do have a background in life. But
Yeah.
it is, I don't know, it's such a great, catchy title, and it's so significant to the journey.
Well, and and we don't need to cling to the title. You know, nothing in life is worth clinging to except the spiritual path. And even that, we have to be willing to say we've been walking down the wrong one for a while. But let's talk a little bit about how you and I got together. Our artist, our successful, brilliant artist friend, Mike Cherney, said he thought, he met me on a river cruise in China 30 years ago, and follows me on Facebook and says, I want to buy a session for you with the person who is guiding my spiritual life. Will you accept that as a gift? And I thought, huh. And I looked you up and it said you were clairvoyant. Ooh. I think I said her. I'm never going to let you forget that it's a great drag name. But
I'm so like just to bring everybody in the loop. It's going to be my drag name, clairvoyant.
Yeah. Mine too, I think. We could do twin sisters. You know, a sister's at.
Well, there are 4 clairs. There's the clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, and claircognizant. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'll play whatever part you'd like. But at any rate, I said, great, thank you. That's wonderful. So I wanted to credit Mike. We never know how we in life are going to start something happening. And it took us to have it happen, because without Mike doing that, we would not have met. We would not have connected the energy. We wouldn't have felt the energy, and we wouldn't have had this idea. It seems that there's so many people out there talking about the same things we're talking about, which is, letting your light shine. And so I called you. We had a great half hour together, and your guidance was great about, you're in the spiritual period, but you're relaxed, you don't force it. Do it with grace and ease, right? And joy. Am I using the right?
And with St. Francis.
Huh?
And with St. Francis.
And you said to me, and let St. Francis be your guide. And I thought, how does she know that St. Francis has been my guide my whole life? The prayer of St. Francis, whether he wrote it or not, of make me a channel of your peace. I used to read that before I would give speeches all over the world. I would read, saying to God, saying to the universe, make me a channel, use me. You've got X number of minutes with this audience. Let it be you, not me. Don't listen. And I would tell audiences, this is not about me. This is. So, at any rate, you said, let Francis be your guide. I thought, whoa. This drag queen has some skills.
There's something behind this.
There's something behind this woman. So, at any rate, I read your newsletters, and then I started sending you. I write a column in the South Florida Gay newspaper, and I started sharing with you my columns. And so we started to connect, and you said, would you like to do a face-to-face? Do you want to do another? And I thought, well, do I have to pay for this? No.
And to give you some context on that, I've had this idea. I mean, I come up with some crazy ideas. Some of them are good. Some of them just need to stay in my head. But I had this crazy idea, and I, sit at my computer and I'm like, who's the right person to maybe just talk about this? And it's you. And I was like, he would be perfect, but what if he thinks I'm crazy? And what if he thinks I'm just this uneducated thing? So I sat there and I was like, you know what? Why not? Why not? And there was no good reason not to. So I sent you the email saying, I have this crazy idea. Would you be open to hearing more about it? And that crazy idea was leveraging the LGBTQ community in their powers with coming out, because it has been one of my greatest challenges to find a community that is in the spiritual world that is comfortable talking about coming out, that is comfortable talking about, I meditate, I feel energy, I see energy, I hear energy, I use it to be successful in my life. And for me, the most obvious poster child of this is the lesbian gay community. I think that they have perfected it. I think that they have a gift for it. So I was thinking, you know, how do we leverage that and share it out into the world so other people can learn from them? And that's how I came to you. And thank God you were.
You came to the guy that the New York Times said was the godfather of gay diversity training, right? So, and I say yes to stuff. You sent the email, I think immediately, duh, yes, let's see where this goes. So, and, and it doesn't have to go any further than this, and it doesn't have to be, they don't need to make a movie. And Meryl Streep doesn't need to play you, right? This can be it. But I said yes. And so we started having these fun, energetic conversations. And your point about the coming out process, it made me think. I mean, there are a lot of stories in the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer community of the hero's journey. A lot of people have really done amazing things by taking their life and saying, the unexamined life is not worth living. I am going to name myself as gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, whatever, and I'm going to claim it, not just for me, but with people in my life. And I don't think that, that doesn't mean that every single LGBTQ person is spiritual, but there is that we are overrepresented, I think, proportionately in the the community of spiritual warriors, people who are on a path and who have a hunger for honesty, truthfulness, and self-determination.
And it's a courage too, an enormous courage that is there. And, I recognize that. And, I'm straight, but I came out too. I worked in banking for 20 years. Nobody had any idea that I was even interested in Buddhism or meditation or anything like that. And it was only towards the end of my career where I was feeling okay saying I meditate. And, I came out, I left banking, I went into more of a strategic consulting role, which ended up in coaching, which finally ended up with me being okay with who I am. And now I'm completely in this world of energy. And it is, a coming out. It is a owning that light and then asking, how is this light manifesting within me?
So this journey that you and I are making together, I believe that in order to have what we say to whoever decides to go on this journey with us, in order for it to have truthfulness, we have to have made a journey, and each of us have in our lives, and continue to. I mean, I know that I'm on a brand new thing now. I mean, with you and talking about what gifts that I have. That I mean, I knew I was a good speaker. I didn't know that originally, but I came to believe it, and that I was a good writer. But I also am starting, because of you and my husband of 44 years, believing that I am an empath. I have a great gift of empathy. I can feel intuitiveness and healing. I have been helpful, I think, with a lot of people in their spiritual paths, and their journeys of self-affirmation, and so that part is new for me too. But Hayley, I have to answer. I've had to answer the question my whole life since I came out, and I was a star in Detroit. Not the one my parents had hoped for. My mother cried and called me during my hunger fast and said, you've got to stop this. We can't take anymore, and it killed me.
How long was your hunger fast?
24 days.
Okay.
7 on just juice and 17 on water. and it was in reparation of the sins of the church against gay people. And I said I wasn't going to come off it until the church made an effort to educate the clergy about homosexuality. So, but at that time I was 26, and in the, lots of media and lots of attention, and, my head started going to, well, are you the Martin Luther King, because you're young and ego is a big thing. And so I had to answer the question, are you happy without the movie? If real quickly, if we have a minute, the New York Times Sunday magazine. I mean, I didn't even know what the New York Times was growing up in Detroit, Michigan, but I wrote the night Anita Bryant won her battle in Dade County, Florida, to take away the civil rights that gay people had been given by Dade County. She won this battle that the whole world was watching. And I don't even know if you remember it. Anita Bryant, she was a spokesman for oh my God. She put the word gay on everyone's radar across the world. And she won this, Save Our Children campaign. And I wrote a letter to her at night. I went to typed a letter. It was an open letter. It was an article. And the New York Times said that they wanted it. And people said, oh my God, you have no idea what this means. You're going to have book deals. You're going to be on talk shows. It's going to totally change your life. And, but they sat on it. And I kept calling them saying, I thought you were going to publish. We are, relax. And then one week they said, it's too late. And so all these things that people thought were going to happen, and I thought was going to happen, didn't. And I had to, at an early age, become aware that my hunger, our egos, when we feed them, they are not satisfied. They want more. I want more of what you just gave me. It tastes great. It's like dark chocolate. Give me more, right?
Yeah.
And at some point you have to say, it's okay that people don't know who I am. It's okay that I'm a footnote, if even that, in history. What's really important is that before I die, I really believe that I've lived my life fully, right?
Yeah, I think, and you've done the best you can with what
I've done the best I can with what I had, right? And so my guess is that your parents are alive, were not thrilled when you left your Wall Street job and started talking about being clairvoyant. I mean, that had to have been, that's as spooky as, being gay, I would say,
But, I think it is. It's just as unacceptable. And especially, when we're talking about the white privilege, you become doctors, bankers, lawyers, success is very material. So me turning away, this very extravagant lifestyle, this wonderful apartment, having a bunch of money to go and do something where people don't really understand it was absolutely not understood. And, I think it was a shock to my parents. I think it also opened up a couple, cans of worms that have been nicely shut for so long. And, again, I came along and sort of exploded those, threw the grenades into it.
Well, I'm sorry, but you and I were talking and talking about, how do we build some bridges back up too?
Yeah. And I think, I'm starting to see that because, it wasn't just my family that were shocked and didn't know what to do with me. It was friends too.
Yeah.
Friends that I had been friends with, 10, 15 years. The most common thing I've heard over the last 4 years is Hayley's in a cult. She needs help. We have to get her out.
Oh.
And, there's nothing I can say to that. There's nothing that is going to help people come over that and be able to ask the question, tell me what it is that you're doing.
Right.
They've never asked that. They've always said, you're in a cult, you need help. So there is that process of isolating yourself and creating distance between people that you once loved, people that you once thought supported you, so that you can get very clear on what it is that you want to do, and so that you can become very clear with what do I have within me and how can I best use it?
And once you do that, and you and I are gonna have people on in our conversations. We're gonna invite people in our conversations who have had these experiences of claiming their light and the sacrifices that they had to make for it. But the joy that comes from making the journey is extraordinary. There's nothing to compare to it.
It's non-negotiable.
Yeah, there's nothing to compare to it.
No matter how hard you think it is, when you come out of that and sort of the tide starts turning and you start going on your way up, nothing compares. It's non-negotiable. You'll always do it again, and life does get better. And we're going to talk about that too, sort of the sweetness that we've experienced low points where you're just sitting there going, I can't do anymore.
And Hayley, the people that were in our lives, if there was love, it will endure. It goes through periods of fear and withdrawal, maybe, anger, but confusion. My mother said to me, "What is it that we tell our friends you do?" You know, because I was speaking on college campuses about being gay, and I was writing a column in the gay press about being gay. They didn't know how to say that over bridge club, you know. No. Well, what does your son do? My son's a doctor. Oh, well, my son's a professional homosexual.
I mean, my parents are like, she used to be a banker and now she does something with energy and she lives in Mexico.
Right. Yeah.
It's just,
it would be easier if you said you were a drag queen.
It would be. Honestly, it would be. And that's a lot of thank you to you. And but, you know, I do think love does transcend. And part of the journey is redefining love, because love doesn't mean that you need to be with somebody or that you have to be in contact with them. Love transcends the physical. Love is an energetic thing. So, you know, just from my story, whether or not I enter the relationship with my family, I don't know, but I'm okay with that, because whatever is meant to be will be. It's just something that I can't negotiate on, is going back to what it was.
Well, one of the things that we hope people will do too, and I think they can do that, Hayley, is if they do watch one of our program, to talk, leave messages about what they thought,
and questions,
that we would address, be sure to address. I mean, we're really doing this, and we need to say that both of us have said, if this is all that happens, it's fine. But what we really hope is that we help other people make the journey. This is not about, it's not about money. It's not about a book. It's not about a movie being made about our life. It's just we have spent our lives, whatever amount, helping other people. We've connected. This is really fun energy, all different kinds coming together, the colors that the two of us bring together. And we just want to share it and hope that if somebody watches that, they say, oh, wow, you know, that's great. I think I have a song that I need to sing myself.
You know, I think it's, if one person gets something out of it, fantastic.
Yep.
But, you know, again, you know, the hero's journey does have a tinge of selfishness to it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be around for a while, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is, you know, the main theme of this is really to share my experience with the intention that it will help somebody else stand up and find the courage within them to be their true self.
And also, I think my goal is to help ask questions, right? So that people who don't get to sit with you at this moment, I'm asking what they might want to ask, and you the same with me. You know, because our stories are our stories are the thing that we bring with us to the afterlife. You know, right? This is what I lived. This is how I loved. It's not about what rank we made, what amount of money we made, about how many kids we had. It's about, what did you do with what you had? Did you let your light shine? Are you proud of what you did?
Yeah. And it's the hero's journey. So I am super excited about exploring that, questioning it at every turn, and redefining what needs to be redefined, and naming what possibly needs to be named.
Yep, me too.
So we hope that you'll join us for more conversations, and who knows where we'll go.